with more thrilling action with a men's singles last 16. And we see this incredible, interesting match between Kenta Matsudaira and JEONG Sangeun. Just listen to the whole speaker when they are introduced. So shake hands before the match is about to start. And just like some more details from my side, first about Kenta Matsudaira. Time on the tour. Meanwhile, ranked number 9 in the world. He was in between. Already, I would say, a little bit disappeared, and now the last month coming back quite strong in this way that he's already very long time, as I mentioned, on the tour, as he was very young, 2009, if I have right in mind. He was already beaten the legends like Oh Sang-eun, was close to beat Ma Lin, 2013. Then again, if I have right in mind, he did beat Ma Lin and give Xuxin really a hard time. And then in between 2000, let's say 15, 16, he really was maybe not in the perfect shape for ever what reason. And you really had the feeling he's not in the inner circle anymore. And you had more the focus on players, let's say, of course, like the really young generation, like Harimoto, or maybe his double partner Kutsukuri. But now, last month, Kenta Matsudaira is really on his way back. We see like very unique style, different service variation, this kind of tomahawk service in all directions. Very good aggressive play, close to the table, maybe even a little bit stronger backhand, especially when it's coming to terms of blocking, controlling and placing the ball in different situations. Interesting player. Meanwhile, maybe also experienced enough. Quite long hairs, actually, to my point of view. Need this extra hairband in order to have the perfect overview. Kenta Matsudaira from Japan. Then his opponent, JEONG Sangeun from Korea. Actually, his origin is Chinese, and he moved to Korea, if I have right in mind, with the age of 12 or 13. What is interesting about JEONG Sangeun is that he was able to beat the dragon, the one and only Ma Long, at the last Asian Championships to reach the final in men's singles, where he at the end lost against Fan Zedong. His style is also like a right-hand attack, very strong forehand topspin, very lethal, I would call this. Whenever he's coming through, it's so difficult for the opponent to stop him. On his way to the last 16, he beat Kokiniwa, the teammate from Kenta Matsudaira. So it's about time for Kenta Matsudaira to take revenge for the loss of Kokiniwa. Kenta Matsudaira, on the other hand, in this first round match at the German Seamaster Open here in Magdeburg, he was able to beat Paul Drinkhall, quite comfortable to my point of view, 4-1. Paul Drinkhall, who had himself in the qualification very hard time to survive, where he had to get in a full best of 7 distance, like winning 4-3 against Ricardo Walter from Germany. Difficult to say. I would say Kenta Matsudaira might have slightly the advantage. But it's a little bit the commentary curse. Usually you are going in one direction. The match might lead itself in total another way. So, last 16 match, Kenta Matsudaira, JEONG Sangeun. It's about to start. 0-0, Kenta Matsudaira. Yeah, and there you see directly in this first rally the way the match might be developing. JEONG Sangeun has to turn around to come with his strong forehand to attack the ball directly. And this backhand swing also Kenta Matsudaira is known for. A little bit, as I said, maybe the backhand is the better stroke, the, let's say, more advanced technique. Also, of course, the number 9 ranked player in the world has also very strong forehand. But I think the backhand he prefers a bit more. Very good placement there. And you see also JEONG Sangeun after this first backhand trying to turn around, trying to use the forehand after. And you avoid this either of playing the ball down the line with the backhand or really open the table into the deep forehand. That's what Kenta Matsudaira did do. 2-2. Long service, waiting in this fast forehand topspin in the cross court, in the strong backhand, and then JEONG Sangeun was trying to place the ball down the line. A little bit out of position there. To my point of view, both a little bit like, let's call it hectic, stressed in the beginning. Both didn't find the rhythm yet. Have a little bit more time. It's best of 7 match. Also, I suppose we don't see many long rallies. Kenta Matsudaira is able to play long rallies. Also, JEONG Sangeun is able to have this control, but he doesn't like. He likes to finish the ball in between. Third time, he likes to put this ball down the line. 2 times with the forehand when stepping around. 1 time with the backhand. You see there, he's trying to avoid the backhand situation. I wonder whether we will see this tomahawk service. From Kenta Matsudaira. He's known for, but he's not using it as much as before. His service very often drifting half long, getting him a bit more out of position. So he's relying more on the classical forehand. Yeah. Whenever it's coming to the backhand, Kenta Matsudaira will be dominant. JEONG Sangeun has to avoid this backhand situation. How to do this? Maybe to place the service directly more short to the forehand there. And then you have another situation. Also, whenever you start as a right-hand player, you want to avoid the backhand situation. Your opponent is also a right-hand player. Open the ball down the line with your backhand. Then you have more chance to follow up after with your strong forehand. Kenta Matsudaira doesn't have to turn around. You can rely on the backhand. He's the one who has the better backhand there. I feel Kenta Matsudaira is still rushing a little bit too much. Usually I know him from having this very good control with the backhand, taking the ball off the bounce, putting the ball in different situation, in different position. Think it over. Very good this time. And this time also after the backhand, trying to turn around. This a little bit surprises me that also Kenta Matsudaira is turning around that early. But probably he felt that after this strong receive with the backhand, the ball has to come into his backhand back. And then we see the first time the tomahawk service, 8-8. See if he's relying one more time on this service variation. Yes. This time could keep the ball short. As I said, quite often the ball is drifting out. See, this time touched with the red side, with the forehand side. He's also able to produce this ball with the backhand side, to have a little bit more kick inside the ball. I think Kenta Matsudaira just touched the table a bit, checking the surface of his rubber. Very nicely saved from Kenta Matsudaira. Usually with the strong forehand topspin it's so difficult to keep the control. Kenta Matsudaira did that, and then when it got to the situation that it's coming to backhand, he just missed it. So JEONG Sangeun is coming back, 10-10. Good service variation, this time tomahawk service long. Till 8, he always relied on the classic service variation. Coming with 8. Third time now with the tomahawk service. Interesting. High risk. Again the fake flip, the camouflage flip. Nice use of wrist. Still missed it. Still very good use of the wrist in order to produce an aggressive forehand flick. Coach of Kenta Matsudaira, Chuyan Singh, long time the private coach of Jun Mitsutani, meanwhile one of the leading coaches in the Japanese national team. And he won't be too happy with the end of this game number 1. After saving 2 match balls, JEONG Sangeun secured the first of his own by winning 13-11 in this game number 1. We'll be back soon. Both are back to start game number 2. I feel both, they still didn't find the right rhythm to my point of view. Both have some easy miss. A little bit stressed match, and like they hurt me, the longest rally with a better ending of JEONG Sangeun. Very powerful strokes. Difficult for Kenta Matsudaira to fight back there, to steer the ball in different direction. Whenever JEONG Sangeun starts to get rolling, it's difficult to stop him. To my point of view, Kenta Matsudaira is overpowering with backhand more than one time already. Also at 10-9 in this game number 1, he was overpowering in crucial moments. Now here again, he has to find his rhythm. JEONG Sangeun. I remember that, I think I told you before, beating Ma Long in the Asian Championships. So he's really a man who's able to play on a really high level, to put himself into the flow. Once he gets going with the forehand, it's difficult to stop him. Kenta Matsudaira has to find a way out now. Good save, good save. Just was JEONG Sangeun was coming up. Now he's able to play also good with the backhand. Here, very good with forehand, but then he was coming up, you see here, the upper body, and that's why he missed that ball. He has to stay low into the table. And then the first time we see, I mentioned that before in the women's double, this side spin, down spin block. Maybe we have the chance to see this in slow motion. Very good use of the wrist of Kenta Matsudaira here. Unbelievable spinny. Also, it looks like it's an easy ball, but it's because it's a little bit higher. But it's so much side spin, down spin in that ball. JEONG Sangeun had no chance to put that ball with this situation on the table. Very aggressive play from JEONG Sangeun. Kenta Matsudaira is checking on the ball. And that's the backhand, how I know it. Very good technique. Looks a little bit like a long movement, like nearly like a tennis movement. If you compare this with the technique of Harimoto, it's a little bit different. Shorter technique, more wrist. Kenta Matsudaira has a little bit the longer technique with the backhand. But whenever the backhand is going, it's also on a very, very high level, very strong. And he just has to make sure to find the right timing, not overpowering the ball inside the rally. Not the perfect placement for opening with his backhand down the line. Down the line means usually you give the opponent the chance to play the ball easier in the cross court. Then you have a forehand rally, which usually JEONG Sangeun is the stronger. Very good block there, and seems like he heard me that I'm a little bit complaining that the backhand is not his strongest stroke. Very good control there. You see the placement of Kenta Matsudaira deep in the backhand, waiting for the flick into the backhand, turning around. JEONG Sangeun had the feeling with the backhand and winning the point. 6-6. To my point of view, this game is really fast. Also, both players, they don't take their time. Usually, you have some players, like for example, also Dmitry Ovtcharov, who really keeps up the concentration by really gathering their thoughts. I have sometimes the feeling these two, they're just playing very, very fast. And Kenta Matsudaira is also very fast, getting through with a strong forehand. There with the backhand, didn't touch it right. A little bit luck, I think hit the ball close to the edge of his racket. That's why this topspin was not as fast and powerful. But it was a good change. Surprised JEONG Sangeun. We can see here probably. And we shouldn't forget now, as it's coming close to the end of game number 2, Kenta Matsudaira is down 1-0. Also, he had 10-8 in this game number 1 against JEONG Sangeun. Yeah. 9-7. Let's see if he's coming one more time with a long service. Nicely moved. Very good movement of Kenta Matsudaira. Just saved the ball into the deep forehand. Then JEONG Sangeun was thinking this is enough to put the ball into the backhand, and then a nice footwork giving Kenta Matsudaira a backhand topspin chance. 10-8. And we still remember game number 1. Kenta Matsudaira was also up 10-8. Before losing 13-11, trying to defend here from half distance. Just like footwork is not that easy on these powerful strokes. But no, with his own service, 10-8. And he used the first one, the second one with their own service. So 10-8 evens out the match. 1 game all. And while the players will listen to their coaches. We're having a short break and be back with game number 3. Was set up by Jun Mitsutani, Kokiniwa, Yoshimura and Oshima as number 4. And he's very much now on his way back into the inner heart of the Japanese national team. 1 game all in this last 16 match against JEONG Sangeun from Korea. Matsudaira to serve. You see, that's smart of him about the placement of the ball, like deep into the backhand. Not that easy for JEONG Sangeun to have another placement in receive, then into the deep backhand of Kenta Matsudaira. And as I mentioned, this backhand rally, if Kenta Matsudaira is not overpowering, he's the dominant player. And JEONG Sangeun, he also knows it. That's why it's so important for him to find the right timing, when to turn around, when to come with his very strong forehand. Very good. We saw that before in game number 2, from 9-7 to 10-7. This way of moving from forehand to backhand, that's really special. That's on highest level, the way he's using the footwork. It's really like a cross step, attacking the ball very early. Perfect move. Tell me about table tennis. That's unbelievable. Now, I just mentioned they don't like the longer rallies, and they proved me total wrong. You see Kenta Matsudaira again coming tennis-like backhand. Backhand topspin twice, and JEONG Sangeun had the better control at the end. But now Kenta Matsudaira has the chance whenever it's coming to the short, especially over the backhand half. He's coming above the table, you see here, attacking the ball directly. And again, he would have turned around and would have tried to follow with a very good forehand topspin. Still feels, to my point of view, that JEONG Sangeun could calm down a little bit more, take the time more to concentrate. Getting a little bit fast there. It feels to me a little bit rushed. That's why probably also this game is a little bit more up and down. Not too happy now with the direction this game, this whole match is moving. Lifting the hand, and you hear the different sound when the ball was touched by the racket. That means just like not the normal edge, but part of the edge was touched. Difficult then to judge for the opponent how much spin is inside. Best rally so far here. And they get into the spin situation where, to my point of view, JEONG Sangeun is a little bit the more dominant player whenever he has the chance to follow with the forehand. But you see how artistic Kenta Matsudaira is trying to get this ball back on the table. 6-5, JEONG Sangeun still keeping up with Kenta Matsudaira. Good movement there. Not that spinny as I had the feeling the ball was. The ball was jumping up a little bit more high. We see here probably in slow motion. While here again we have the longer rally with a forehand smash. Just focus the ball. Put some magic inside that the ball was not coming back on the table. Get the extra spell. Meanwhile, 7-6. Kenta Matsudaira is about to serve. I wonder whether he will come back sooner or later to the tomahawk service. Very good, very good. This backhand swing is really on the highest level, nicely executed, nicely to watch and to see how clean this technique is. Very good use of the wrist, of the lower part of the arm. And now JEONG Sangeun changing the service. Oh, nicely answered. His wrist, the use of the wrist of Kenta Matsudaira is really remarkable. Also there, this extra movement, this fake movement enables him to get the ball flicked into the deep backhand of JEONG Sangeun. Very good. A little bit more stable now, and one more time to my point of view, JEONG Sangeun feels like more rushed, even more rushed than Kenta. And here we are. Really, especially the movement from forehand to backhand side, Kenta Matsudaira is not missing the ball. We will see here one more time in slow motion. Here, the topspin movement to the backhand. Could have even gone for another forehand step, but as we remember, Kenta Matsudaira loves to play backhand, likes to play backhand, and likes to win also this game number 3. We will be back soon. So JEONG Sangeun to serve. 2-1 lead from Kenta Matsudaira. And you see how good reaction Kenta Matsudaira is having close to the table. JEONG Sangeun was just surprised after this backhand rally. You see, a bit far away from the table here. Very good saved. Then the ball was just coming up a little bit more than JEONG Sangeun was expecting. And another one saved. JEONG Sangeun is coming up with the backhand too much, with the body too much. That's why, let's say, a little bit easier mistake was just happening. A little bit nice service variation there around the ball, but then the technique for counter spin was not perfect. Again, from forehand to backhand side, he's not missing. Then again, from backhand to forehand side, he's a little bit later to the ball. It means he really prefers to come in gear with his backhand. Small change of service, also there around the ball. JEONG Sangeun was coming. Gets it more difficult to put the ball short. But then on the other hand, you see here, Kenta was trying short, the ball was drifting out half long. A nice first ball attack after his service. You see again about the placement of the ball. Very nicely done, deep to the backhand of JEONG Sangeun. And Kenta Matsudaira knows that it's not that easy to play this ball down the line. Therefore, he's waiting this backhand. And that's usually what he wants, from forehand to backhand, to follow with his backhand topspin. Just missed a little bit of a luck, to my point of view, for JEONG Sangeun, who has a 5-3 lead. So important, so crucial to stay inside this game now. That's why I'm also a little bit irritated there. Usually you feel the game, how it's going in one direction, and Kenta Matsudaira felt to me that he has a little bit more control. Then he has like a very fast, not that good start in this game number 4. Suddenly he's back 3-7. That's something he has to think it over, gather the thoughts. But now, with the own service, switch of service to tomahawk service, win the first point already. Very good touch of the ball. And you see, this time he touched this with the black side. Before, he was coming with a classic tomahawk service, using the red side. And now we're here in slow motion, you see. And the ball was getting half long, but slightly half long. Difficult for JEONG Sangeun to really read it. Perfect way of doing this service. He was among the first to produce this service, this tomahawk service in all direction on this level. We have also Ding Ning, for example, is using it. Dmitry Ovtcharov already also long time. And suddenly, after being 3-7 down, Kenta Matsudaira is back. Very crucial, one more time to my point of view, this game number 4. Would have been maybe also an idea to have a timeout. We shouldn't forget, JEONG Sangeun had already 10-8 in this game number 1 before losing it. Kenta Matsudaira had 10-8, and now he was up 2-1, 7-3. Now it's for JEONG Sangeun very crucial to stay inside this game. 7-3 up, 7-7. Would have been really an idea to go for a timeout. Perfect! What a rally! And that's the way I know Kenta Matsudaira really having a very good controlled game, a very good counter-attack, and you feel as an opponent you cannot get through. Kenta Matsudaira like a wall, placing the ball, following with a very good forehand topspin. And suddenly, after being 3-7 down, he's 8-7 up. And the tomahawk service gets the difference again. Usually relying in the beginning of the game so much on the classic forehand service. After being 7-3 down, 2 times a winner with the tomahawk service. After 7-7, 2 times a winner with the tomahawk service. So the tomahawk service really gets the difference there. And that shows also quite some effect from JEONG Sangeun. His backhand service, not the best quality, actually even a little bit higher. But Kenta Matsudaira was just putting the ball and on the table, and JEONG Sangeun was just risking with his forehand flick. Now let's see if another tomahawk service is coming out. So far 4-0. And the 5th ball also, Kenta Matsudaira was a slightly bit lucky with this counter side spin ball. The ball was really having this nice trajectory, nice curve into the body of JEONG Sangeun. At the end, 3-1 lead for Kenta Matsudaira, and it's about JEONG Sangeun time to come back into the game, and we're having a short break. We'll be back with game number 5, and we see Kenta Matsudaira being up 3-1 against JEONG Sangeun. JEONG Sangeun in this game number 4, in the last game, was up 7-3, to my point of view. Too much, too fast, losing a little bit, 1 point by the other. Kenta Matsudaira used the first chance. Ooh, very good answer on that ball, this time down the line. With the forehand, as I mentioned, he found the backhand, he found his block. Sometimes still, I believe he's rushing a bit too much, but altogether, to my point of view, he feels more, I feel he's more in the game than in comparison JEONG Sangeun, who's playing too much up and down. Let's think about how this match might have developed if JEONG Sangeun would have won this game number 4. That's why I believe after being up 7-3, would have been smart to take the timeout, maybe to break the rhythm of Kenta Matsudaira. Now again, he's relying on this easy backhand service. But looks like Kenta Matsudaira has more troubles in putting some quality inside. This happens once in a while because this ball has like no extra spin or no extra speed. And very often the players, they're using the speed and the spin of the ball in order to produce a good quality, especially in the short receive. And service return, again, it's very important on this high level. Kenta Matsudaira has the advantage with the tomahawk serve, has the advantage of putting the forehand service deep into the backhand of JEONG Sangeun. Has a little bit more service variation. JEONG Sangeun, on the other hand, is coming mainly with the forehand service, now changed a bit to an, let's say, easy backhand receive, but Kenta Matsudaira has more possibilities in service return. This time coming with his forehand flick. And now it's the timeout. You know, this is always the question for timeout. You know, or sometimes it's not that easy to really judge when is the right moment. Some, they say, we need the early timeout, maybe to secure game number one. Some might say, no, we just leave it until the last moment. To my point of view, it's so important to discuss this with the player, then in one moment to have the agreement with the player, to have a little bit of philosophy behind the timeout, to take a little bit the earlier timeout or take the late timeout. To my point of view, as a matter of fact, now the timeout is a little bit late. I would have gone for the earlier timeout instead of to do the timeout by 1-3, 2-5. We'll see. He might prove me wrong. We've seen quite some games changing in all direction, also after being 1-3 down. As we remember, Timo Boll was 1-3 down against Ma Long, was 1-3 down against Lin Gaoyuan. Let's see if Lee Song-ong can come back in this game. The first point at least favored the one who's down 1-3 and now 5-3. Still surprisingly, Kenta Matsudaira has some troubles with the no-spin serve, backhand no-spin serve of JEONG Sangeun. A little bit touched the top of the net, and still again the one service variation we've mentioned before, deep to the backhand. Not that easy for JEONG Sangeun to have another placement of receive than in the good backhand of Kenta Matsudaira. Kenta Matsudaira is really misreading the service a little bit, his backhand service. Still he feels quite comfortable, quite confident. 3-1, 7-4 up. You see so many matches going in all directions once you're losing the concentration. So now Kenta Matsudaira has to keep up with his own concentration. Very good. 2 times down the line. To my point of view, the first placement against JEONG Sangeun was not that perfect because gave JEONG Sangeun the chance to counter-attack. But Kenta Matsudaira was there, and the second counter-attack again down the line was perfectly done. Good movement now, 9-5, and everything looks in favor of JEONG Sangeun. And now this is smart because Chu Yang-sing also felt that there's some trouble in receiving, especially against the backhand service of JEONG Sangeun. So it's about time to exchange some thoughts. To my point of view, would have been an idea not to have a short receive there, but it's dropping out a little bit too high, but to go for the long receive, maybe long to the middle, long to the middle, long to the backhand side, maybe to flick the ball. Yeah, and he's also showing with the hand, just like waiting for the ball, let the ball a little bit drop, and then to go for the ball. If you cannot read the ball perfect and you don't feel right, go for the long receive, go for the flick, and be ready for the first topspin of JEONG Sangeun. But just avoid the short game on the backhand if you are not really able to put some spin inside. Let's see if it works. Yeah, was not a bad idea also from JEONG Sangeun to have this long service, but Kenta Matsudaira was there. And this time, smartly done, avoid the short game, open the ball, flick the ball with the backhand. At the end, no chance from JEONG Sangeun. Could have been even a clean sweep. We shouldn't forget the game number 1. Kenta Matsudaira was already up 10-8 before JEONG Sangeun took this game. Was a little bit closer in the beginning of this whole match. JEONG Sangeun was trying hard, but at the end Kenta Matsudaira was winning 4-1. We see here 11-13, 11-8, 11-7, 11-8, 11-5. All my congratulations is going to Kenta Matsudaira. Of course, JEONG Sangeun did his best, but Kenta Matsudaira just proved at the end too strong. He's through to the quarterfinal, where he will meet later on today Fan Zedong, who managed to beat Su Yu. We're having a short break, and then we're coming back with men's singles number 2 in this last 16 round in the Seamaster German Open, where we're gonna see for the German fans the first highlight between Simon Gauzy and the legend of German table tennis, Timo Boll. Will be back soon.